Most
I'm kidding. I'm
controversial.
kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
What do you
I
call
was
it?
about I was about to spit it.
Is God bad?
Um, um,
I'm curious. I'm curious with today's Satanism, atheism, and like mass misinformation, what people actually think about God.
Is God bad? Well, let me ask this question to you.
I'm
Why?
asking questions.
Okay, but I asked this question to myself.
Okay.
Why is this world so cruel? Why do bad things happen to such good people if God is a truly good person? Why do so many children suffer in this world, have no food, have no parents, get airstriked by the imperial US regime if God is good? There's so much suffering in this world. If God was truly good, why wouldn't he intervene?
That's what I'm asking you. Is God bad?
I have no clue. I'm trying to answer that question myself. As of right now, I'm still trying to seek for the answers. But I don't really know too much about God in order to actually come to a conclusion to that.
Do you believe in God?
You know what? It'll be naive to not believe that there's something higher than us because obviously the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence, right? Like just because we don't have evidence for God doesn't mean that he doesn't exist. I'm not trying to be closed-minded or anything, so I am open to that. But yeah, as of right now, there are more questions that came up in my mind than were answered. So, yeah.
I don't think he's inherently like good or bad. I think it's like subjective to everyone's opinions. But personally, because I did growing up, I did go to church. But had, like, I never had the opinion that God was like always good or always bad either. Yeah, so I'm kind of just in the middle of that.
You're just not sure yet.
Yeah.
So then let me ask you this. What makes you in the middle? Because as growing up, you always say God is good, God is good. So why are you more center line?
Okay, interestingly, I when I was younger, I never said God is good because when like when your parents force you to do something, it makes you not want to do it even more. And so when I was a child, me and my brother, both of us were like pretty similar, and we don't like doing stuff we're forced to do. And so when my parents were very,
But you did this interview.
Huh?
But you did this interview.
I did this interview. Yeah, like I don't know. So I don't know. Am I allowed to do this interview?
No, yeah, I'm
Okay,
joking. It's a joke.
okay,
It's a joke.
okay.
It's a joke.
Okay, yeah.
A bad
I feel
one.
like this is a really touchy subject, so I don't want to like make anyone mad.
I get better views.
Okay. Yeah, but like when my parents forced us to go to church, my brother and I, this is kind of embarrassing, but we did a lot of things to like try to get out of it. And so the more that I was forced to go to church, the more I ended up hating it. And so since I never really like went heart to heart in church with God, like I can't really say like I have a personal connection with him, and I don't really know him. But then growing up, I'm part of like I'm part of the Korean community at my especially at my high school. Like Koreans are very, very religious, and so I did go to a couple like events where they would like they would like sing. There would be like a lot of seminars and stuff. And from there, I would always like when I was there, I would always be like, "Oh, God is so good." But then when I'm at home, I'm like, "Oh, it's whatever. Like I don't really care."
Is God bad?
I wouldn't say so. I'm more agnostic, but I feel like if there was a God, he would probably be more neutral on the state of things, not necessarily towards any one morality.
Do you think he'd be okay with atrocities? If he's neutral, how would his morality shift based on events?
I mean, I'm not sure deity's morality would really be on the same thing as humans. It's like if we saw an ant like slaughtering a bunch of ants, we might just kind of be like, well, that's just kind of their thing, whatever. So he might be like that. He might take an outside approach to it as just sort of, he might have opinions like, oh, maybe that shouldn't be the best way, but he's not going to like care enough to do anything because I feel like a principle of that would be like removal at that point.
Is God bad?
No,
What makes you say that?
because the idea of God is that, that's a good question, but, well, what I believe in is that God is like what your relationship with your life is, and like doing good. That's what I think God is, like doing good in your life and like just being like the best person you can be.
Mhm.
That's what I think it is.
Do you think your idea of good and bad, your moral, is based on God or is based on society and what you think feels right?
I think it's based on society and what I think feels right. Because I mean, that's how you were raised,
Mhm.
and society says what is good and what is bad, and I think it's based on that.
Do you think that's a fair assessment? Because given history, for example, Nazi Germany, they thought killing Jews was a good thing, but obviously we now know it's bad. So how do you keep yourself from being one with like the win and going this way and that way based on whatever's popular, and instead being properly good? Because I'm guessing you don't want to be a bad person, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I would say it's all on your moral values, and the ultimate thing is peace and like not hurting others. And I think that's a pretty good point to follow in life.
As an atheist, has there ever been an event that made you question your belief in God? Maybe He's real.
I don't think so. Event. I mean, there have been times where I'm like, I wish I did, maybe, but not really. That made me think like, oh, then there is.
What makes you wish for that?
Sometimes when I'm like, I really want this to happen, like, part of me wants to like pray to hope that it like happens, but then it's like it's not real. Like I don't believe in it, so I don't know. Or when things are really, really bad, I'm like, come on, something has to fix this shit.
Do you pray to God?
I don't.
You don't?
I used to pray, but I don't anymore.
Why is that?
Because I just think that as long as like you work on yourself and like do good, I think that's good enough.
Does anything keep you from praying? Like, is there any specific thing, or you just think it's not worth my time? I just gotta do my thing, and that's it.
Yes, exactly. I just feel like it's not worth my time, and I just gotta do my thing.
But if you believe in the idea of a higher power, a God, is He not worthy of worship? Is He not worth your time because He created you and everything that you do?
Well, I just don't see the point of worship. Like, I see that as like I was created, but I'm here to do. I have a purpose. I have a purpose of finding out what I need to do in life, and I think I just have to follow that.
Ever pray to God, or you ever secretly pray to God if you're in a 50-50 situation?
Yeah, honestly, there's some pretty hard times in my life where I just did not know where to go. And I feel like that's probably where religion comes in, because it gives you faith and like motivation to keep going even though things are just never going your way. And I think as long as religion keeps somebody going and like gives them faith and motivation that everything will be good and everything will be better in the end, and if it's not better then it's not the end, then sure, like I think that's beneficial. Yeah.
Have you ever secretly prayed to God?
Honestly, no.
Never.
No, not that I can think of. At least like I've wished and hoped, but not like actually prayed to anything.
Is there anything that keeps you from believing in Him specifically?
I mean, I don't believe there is a him specifically. First of
Or
all,
her, or it, or...
yeah, and it, but it's like, I mean, there's so many religions, there's so many options of belief, like theology and stuff. So I don't know. I think yes, the one thing that stops me from believing in religion is because I'm fixed on the negative aspects of it. So, and from what I've learned in just history classes, there's been so many wars, so many deaths, so many negative things from it that, in my opinion, the positive doesn't outweigh the negative.
But wouldn't you blame that on the people or society or the politics at that time? Because the religion teaches something good usually.
Yes, but I think it's like there's a lot of misinterpretation about it, and a lot of people taking advantage of it. So in itself, I don't believe religion is a bad thing in itself.
The people behind it are bad, usually, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. There's a lot of misconception, misunderstanding. There's a lot of like wrong interpretation that creates, and like a lot of people do a lot of bad things and just like blame it kind of, or just like defend it by the religion. Or a lot of people do a lot of bad things just knowing like, oh well, religion's gonna forgive me anyways.
But wouldn't you believe that if there was no religion, they'd blame it on something else? Like Hitler and the reparations of World War I. How do you got? Wouldn't those people always exist no matter there's a God or not?
Yes, that's why. Like, although I don't believe in religion, I don't condone it. I don't think religion shouldn't exist. I just personally have made the choice to not believe in it. But I do feel like for a lot of people, religion is mostly necessary and very helpful, because we're obviously all different and we all think differently. And a lot of people need some type of like not like a guidance or some like ground rules, not because like they're like any less smart or anything, just because of the process of thinking that is different. Like they need that to help them like stay like, I guess, not focused but stay grounded. So I definitely think it's very necessary for some people. Not for me personally. I don't think it grounds me. I think it mostly just would refer me from like expanding myself and my horizons. So I have just a mixed opinion, as in like in the sense that I do believe some people need it and it's acceptable. Of course, I have absolutely nothing against it. I'm not going to try and convince anyone to not believe in. But there's a lot of people that believe it for the wrong reasons, and in my opinion, that can be problematic.
So aside from religion, which I understand, are you still have no belief in God? Those few times that you wished for, is there nothing there?
No. At the end of the day, I'm just like, no. I don't believe I need to believe in a God. I just exist, I guess. I don't know. I just live as I live.
Have you ever prayed to God or secretly prayed to Him?
Secretly, yes, because I think when you're growing up, you have like this, you have the what's it called? Like this illogical idea that if you start praying all of a sudden, like good things are gonna happen. And that was me, like at one point in my life when I was really young, like in elementary school. I thought like, oh, if I start praying now, like good things will start happening to me. But obviously, it's not gonna change like that. And so, as a kid, obviously I'm gonna get disappointed. But then as I grew up, I'm like, oh, like, well, obviously that wasn't gonna happen. And so.
But did that not happen because you prayed and then just like sat on the couch, kept watching TV?
Yeah.
Or did you actually go try and do the work to get whatever you wanted to get done?
No, I did the first thing.
You did the first
thing? I was just like, okay, I'm ready.
Do you think it would have changed if you did the other way?
Yeah, actually, I feel like
He would have gave you more help in that aspect?
Yeah, I do feel like if I had kept going for it, there may have been a different, there would have been changes in my life, but I'm just not. I think like as a kid, or even now, like I don't really like committing to things because it's such like I don't like looking at things in the long run because it puts a little pressure on me. And so even now, like when I get into like if I were to get into religion, it's such like a long-term investment that I'm kind of intimidated by it.
But is that a worthwhile investment? Because if it's a religion and if you believe in God, let's just say God, is God not worth a worthwhile investment because He's the one that created you? He has the power over everything.
I think I'd have to like talk to more people about that. Like, I guess like now's a good time, right? Because there are a lot of communities and people to talk to about that. So I feel like and I'm pretty like easily influenced. So if people were to talk to me about like how their lifelong journey and God's graces and whatnot helped them throughout their life, I think I would be encouraged to be more involved in those types of communities.
But then you go home and be like, yeah.
Yeah. So again, like I'm so easily influenced that when I'm at home, I'm gonna just snap or like eat. But then if I'm with other people, I will do what they're doing. And so that's just my personality. And I think a lot of people are like that too. Just because you don't want to offend people. So when you're in like those types of communities, you want to sort of be like them. And so that's why I do that. So yeah, like I think it just depends on what type of communities I'm involved in.
At this point in the video, some of you may be thinking, Garan, I've heard people talk about their beliefs from atheists to this to that. Tell me about your God. Tell me what Islam says. Well, that's simple.
وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ